My sisters, in the name of the one God, Ar-Rahman, the merciful, the compassionate, I bring you greetings from your sisters in the United States. And we were wondering, as we sat yesterday, as exciting as it was to see the delegates and hear them speak so positively of Ashraf, we wondered if we were ever going to hear any Americans say an apology for what has happened to the women of Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya and Egypt and especially Palestine. So I will do what perhaps men cannot do. Let me say on behalf of the Christian women of the United States, we are sorry and we share your suffering and we are wounded to be a source of it. So to come here and greet you like this, to hear your strength and your stories, is both a very great blessing, but also a source of pain, because we know that we have been part of it. So please understand that as I speak to you, it is in no way to tell you what to do or what to think, because it is evident you can think for yourself, and you are strong, and you are powerful, and you are devoted to a better life for all your people. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. I have been working for the United Nations NGO for some time, known as the Women's United Nations Report Network. And one of the things that we do is consider the question of freedom of religion from the point of view of women. We notice that whenever there is a conflict between culture and religion and women's rights, it is women who lose. And let me say, as a theologian, that I believe this is a dishonor to all religions and an insult to God to say that half of the human race has not been created to be equal and powerful and live in peace is simply unacceptable for anyone with deep knowledge of the God that we all share and worship. Let me say then that every now and then the West can actually be useful. We have seen in the year 2000, the United Nations the Security Council passed a resolution, number 1325, which covers the treatment and rights of women in conflict situations. That is, the United Nations itself has called for women to be part of all parts of the peace process, all negotiations, and that anyone engaging in conflict or attempting to mediate must take the special problems of women in conflict situations, their exposure to violence, their widowhood, the problems of orphans. All of these things must be included in any hope of making peace and bringing stability. So one of the things that we have tried to do is help the United Nations understand that the women of Ashraf have actually presented us with a wonderful example of what happens when women are included at every level of leadership in the struggle for democracy and in the struggle for peace. What we have found is that when the United States disarmed Camp Ashraf, they automatically had to deal with women because women were already there in leadership positions, because the Resistance had made a point of teaching and empowering women to take over leadership. There was no question that they could be excluded. The Security Council resolution also calls for women UN observers to be present in all situations where conflict has broken out and to monitor what is going on with the women who are caught up in these violent situations. we had specific UN monitors at Camp Ashraf. And with their cooperation and that of the women's leadership, and that of, I must say, of the American troops who came to respect and honor the people of Ashraf that they were protecting at that time, we saw incredible move by the Iranian women outreaching towards the women of Iraq to include all kinds of women's groups, bring them to Ashraf and create a safe conversation environment. So in fact, whatever there was of a Sunni awakening in Iraq took place because of this good lady and our sisters in Ashraf who have suffered so much during all their time being there, but have done so gladly on behalf of bringing change to their sisters in Iran. Now, as we see the uprising across North Africa and the Middle East, please be mindful that the UN has already pronounced the need to have women be part of every process. So we must call upon the UN to ask why it is no women, as far as we know, have been invited onto the committee drafting a new Egyptian constitution. The women have participated equally in the uprising, have put themselves in the same danger, and yet now we see that the uprising is successful, but we do not see women automatically sharing the fruits of that success. So in this respect as well, Ashraf serves as a reminder to us that we cannot let the genuine yearnings for democracy that lead to uprisings be languish for lack of women's participation, that we must take care that these movements are not hijacked by fundamentalists and made into yet another reason why we should keep women silent and deny them of their rights. And I'm bringing here today also a petition that I hope you will sign if you feel so moved, that we are sending to the United Nations and to Egypt to call on the participation of women as we move into the next phase of the Jasmine Spring. So as we think about what has happened, we know that we have in Ashraf and in the women of the Resistance a tremendous example of how to not be silenced, of how to continue and persevere as women, requiring our rights, because it is not just a democratic duty, but it is a religious duty. And so I have brought to you, finally, a song for all the women of the Jasmine Spring. It is poetry, so even if you do not hear it in your language as poem, perhaps you will hear the heart and the meaning. Whenever art sings a song of woe, it is a tune that women know by heart. But what does the merciful, the compassionate one say? Sing a new song, for God brings a fresh day. Lift up your heads, it won't be long. Let all earth's daughters sing for joy. The tyrants are just broken toys, no more than naughty little boys who cannot have their way. Let all the Jasmine women say, what is hateful to you, do not do to another. Treat the whole world as if it is your lover. This, says God, is the one true way. This, says God, is the only way. Thank you.